Social media and the elections. I'm sure most of you were following the elections on whatever platform it is. Online platforms were used by most young people to share their views on the elections. Google had been monitoring all of that and what was searched for regarding the elections. And in studio with us, we've got Mich Atagana, who is Google's head of communications and public affairs in South Africa, to tell us a little bit more about these trends. Good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me back on the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, because it's always so fascinating when people take to social media and we look at what people are looking at. So what was big? What was trending when it came to the social media side of things?
I think from a Google point of view, what people were searching for was very, very interesting, because if you look at the lead up to the elections, people were trying to figure out how to get registered to vote, where to go vote, who to vote for, and who was going to win. And then when we got on election day, we started seeing a lot more craze around people physically trying to figure out, where do I need to go vote right now? So closest voting stations, but then political parties started coming up during the election. So we saw the DP being searched for quite a lot. The EFF was searched for a number of times, as well as Musi Maimane as well. And then post-elections, what we saw was interest in parties that people saw taking seats or getting more votes than they thought they would. So we saw a lot of interest in the VF Plus, a lot of interest in Claudia Motseneng, a lot of interest in the ATM party and things like that. Yeah, so that's some of the trends on the day live. So.
I'm wondering, were any searches for how to remove indelible ink?
You know what? Actually,
did you have any searches?
We should actually
Please check it out
if that actually happens. But what we did see,
because I keep asking myself, how do people know which household cleaning agent to use to rub it off?
I still have my election
mark.
I don't know how they did that. But I think for a lot of people, the result was a very big thing for them and the parties as well. But I should check out to see if indelible ink.
That would be a nice one.
If it made that, because it's probably somewhere down there in the top 100
but
searches.
It probably did make it. So this was the related to the elections. This was on the day. So election results, voting day, EFF. I mean, EFF seemed to have really been a big one. Were they the most searched for political party on the day?
No, they actually weren't, funny enough. They were big on the trending searches on the day, but they were they're number 2 consistently in terms of parties they were searched for. So it's ANC EFF. First. And then during kind of elections, before elections, we had the DA, but post-elections, we've seen the Freedom Front Plus guys come up there as well.
Yeah, so these are the top questions on the elections in South Africa. And I imagine not only by South Africans, but did you notice this sort of happening outside of our borders?
Yeah, so there's quite a number of interest coming in from other African countries. So we saw interest from Lesotho, Swaziland, we saw interest from Zimbabwe, Botswana. I was actually checking before it came in. So if I look now, Lesotho is still very interested in the elections. And interestingly enough, it takes a while before we started seeing bigger international interest, so outside the African border. So I think New Zealand just came up now, the US, Qatar, and Australia and the United Kingdom in terms of people searching for the election.
So I see out of all the provinces previously in the board before, the one that was searched for most was who won in the Western Cape. So it seemed that was a...
People are interested in who won in the Western Cape.
Okay, that was a big one.
People are also interested in terms of how many seats. So this was interesting for me, how many seats it takes to be, how many votes to get a seat in Parliament.
Yes.
Because I think when we started seeing the results come out, the question was now, okay, what is going to happen when it comes to Parliament now? Who's going to be there? How many people from that party will be there? And what does that mean for the South African Parliament in 2019?
Yeah, you had a list up earlier. I'll ask our team to put that back up, of the most searched political parties. So we said the ANC, we also said the EFF coming in there, and the DA. But the Freedom Front Plus, where did they come in? Because I'm looking...
They're number 3.
Oh, they're number 3
They're number 3, yeah. So they jumped to number 3 just post-election.
Can you believe it?
They, I think in the previous trends, they were kind of hovering either low top 10, low top 20. And what I found very fascinating is that just post-election, they climbed quite high to number 3 in this trend. But also, it's all the way people search for them. So obviously, we'll consolidate because people will search for ANC or African National Congress. So we'll put that together in one. It's a lot of trending searches post-election that were Freedom Front Plus, VF Plus as well.
Yeah. And I like the one you said about, where is Claudia Motseneng?
Yeah, so yeah.
He did. You don't have to respond. Just me being naughty. Finally now, because now it's even more exciting, because as we've had the elections, everything's over there. Now it's who will be minister, who's going to be deputy president, what's going to happen. So I can imagine that this is now what's going to steal center stage.
Yeah, I think so. But also, let's not forget that South Africans have also very busy minds interested in a lot of other things as well. So we'll probably start seeing a little bit of drop-off in terms of vested interest in the election. So now, this morning when I went on to check, Game of Thrones came up.
Don't get me started.
Game of Thrones came up.
Yeah.
We've had The Bachelor trending. We've had people looking for football games and who won games coming up.
So elections have now, they're off the radar.
Okay, we know who won.
And you know what? I'm actually relieved to a certain extent. Let's just get life going again and let these politicians work and stop promising us stuff.
Let them get the work done, absolutely.
Let them deliver. Very interesting. Always awesome talking to you. Thank you so much for coming in. Mich Atagana, Google's head of communications and public affairs in South Africa. So that was what was trending during elections and what was searched for elections 29. Okay, goodbye. That's it. We got to say goodbye from us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sakina, bright and early again tomorrow.